Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. This is the third podcast episode, and I am extremely happy to have my friend Pierre Barnes back on the episode. Pierre Barnes is an expert in the books review, and he's been talking about the library books, and he's been sharing all of these and all this information with you. So there's a website, all the links from our discussion today are going to be below in the description on YouTube. Pierre, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. Yep.
I see there's a lot of things happening over there in BC, and we got a lot to talk about today. Mm-hmm. As you know, after my delegation, there was an open letter that was sent addressing my concerns. And the way they addressed my concerns was really omitting all my concerns. And I've noticed you've also sent the school board a letter. Now, last June, you sent them an email that had all the books, and you had the photos of the books. So all the trustees knew exactly the kind of books and the kind of content that exists in the libraries. And then you sent a following open letter after my delegation to the trustees. How was that received the first time? Did anybody reply in June?
In June, I don't. The first letter, nobody replied to it actually. I had a couple reply. Well, the formal letter that I sent with regarding the books, no one replied to that one. But I sent an email to Scott at some point, and I did have reply from a couple trustees. Mm-hmm. I sent an email to Scott regarding the book Rick when he canceled Carolyn. Mm-hmm. So I emailed him, Yeah, it's hard to describe the email, but yeah, so I had a reply from Mike, I believe, and another one, I don't remember what was the name of the trustee. But yeah, so
the books are still in the library. Obviously, they have not been removed, so it doesn't seem like they were very eager to investigate this. As a matter of fact, I believe they've been adding more books. They've been adding to this collection.
Yeah, they did actually. Yeah.
So there's
the queer.
Yeah.
They buy one more gender queer, and it's happened all across Canada. So I start to relook at libraries, and actually they're pushing it even more. So now they add the books that we complain about, they just buy them. They're very arrogant. They know that parents have an issue with those books, and they buy them. You know what I mean? So it's just not every district, but the major one, they do it. Yeah.
I find it very interesting. They have this big process. At least that's what I've seen in the open letter, where they assure parents that they have a rigorous process and that we should trust the process, and they have our best interest in mind. And then I look at these books, and I find these books can probably fall in one of two categories, either education or entertainment. And I think both categories are appropriate for school. But then you have books with themes of pedophilia, incest, sterilization of minors, child abuse. And I'm really struggling to understand, does this book fall under education or is this entertainment? I don't really understand the academic value these kind of books have for kids.
But they have no academic value. That's why there's nothing to understand. Those books, the books you're talking about, are just illegal in a school setting. I don't even know why they are there. It's not even that they are not appropriate. It's just completely illegal. Especially the one, let's say the Bluest Highs, when they clearly speak about pedophile relationships.
Yeah.
And, all those who are showing sexually explicit material should not be in front of children. So there is no education there. That's it. So that's why it's hard to understand. Yeah, and actually if a teacher was to show those books to children, they will be disciplined. It's very simple. If my daughter was to come back home with a book like that, and she will she will feel traumatized by it, I can make a complaint to the teacher commissioner, and I will win. I won't lose, because those books should not be in school. It's very simple.
Well, I saw them defending The Bluest Eye, which in my opinion was completely inappropriate. So the way they do it is they say Nobel Prize author and all of this. And I'm thinking, let's say you watch a movie, right? It's an award-winning movie, something like Toy Story. And then in Toy Story, then you have a sex scene come up, I don't know, say like 30 seconds, 15 seconds, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then you defend the movie saying, well, this movie is award-winning and all of this, but is it really child appropriate once you add the sex scene? It's the same thing with this. Like, sure, the author might be award-winning, but again, pedophilia and incest scenes, themes, child abuse throughout the book. I'm really struggling here to understand. And it seems to me that if these books fall under a certain category, right, even the racial category, suddenly they're automatically acceptable, right? Oh, this is about the struggles of racialized people, so good to go. We're good to go here. Nothing else to see, right? These are, in my opinion, very weak excuses to have books like this.
They are weak excuses, of course. Yeah, but you're right about the racialized things, because most of those books they have peoples of race in it. So they remove Dr. Zeus and they replace this with those type of books, right? It's just because there is some race in it. But it's just the basic of it is those books should not be shown in the front of children. At some point, we just have to stay our ground and stay to the basic. I won't start to read my children's books about two people having sexual relationships, and not sexual relationship, sexual intercourse. And the book, I'm not going to show them a book that describes all the feelings and all the gestures of sexual intercourse. It doesn't make any sense. And it's even worse when you think a stranger is going to do it to your children. A stranger or a teacher, it's going to go and told your children about all this stuff. I mean, I don't know the teacher. Teacher is not my family, right? It's teacher. I don't even choose the teacher. The government choose it for me. So, and then that person is allowed to show this stuff to my children? No, for me, it's just not acceptable. So, and they always say that they do the main excuse that they're using is that, well, we do this to prevent sexual abuse, right? To prevent of sexual abuse. So the mentality for them is, in order to prevent sexual abuse, you're going to abuse the children. That's exactly what they do. Because, showing sexual explicit material to children is child abuse. Even within the criminal code. That's the point, right? We tend to forget the law.
Our director said during a meeting in January, I have this video up on my website. People can see the context, the full video for themselves. He said that any book on the topic of LGBTQ is acceptable to all children, regardless of age. Any book. Now, I had to look for myself. I've done a little bit of an investigation, and I've talked about this on my interview with Rebel News. There's a book called This Book is Gay.
Oh, my God.
You did a review. And that book, it changes the vocabulary to make the word sound childish. There's words like handies, bumming, put the we here, go through the back door. And there's in the book, it also talks about using social media and dating platforms to find people. And it says that dating platforms have an age restriction of 18 years old, but you can utilize social media like Twitter, implying that if you want to go younger, you can just drop in somebody's DM and send them a message.
That's exactly what he said. Yeah.
And that book was basically a grooming manual, from what I've seen. How to groom, how to get into sexual relations with children. And they were also talking in this book, you can, if you find out about your sexual feelings, you can choose to ignore it. Or step two, you can choose to act on it. Or step 3, you can choose to make it your identity. Again, for all the viewers and listeners, you can have a look at the Rebel News interview that I did. I go into a little bit more detail about this. But like I said, the director said all books on the subject of LGBTQ are appropriate for all children on all ages. And I really had to investigate myself to see if this is the case. And I cannot believe the kind of material that is acceptable. And you know what? He is right. It is written for children.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it is written for children. That's the problem. Right? There's no adult that's gonna go and buy this book. It is really written for children.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that this book is gay. We talk about blue jobs and whatever other sexual act is really written for children that way. There's this.
Yeah. So
It's
there's something happening.
We'll leave in it right now. But go on.
There's something happening at Chilliwack. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. School board. Yeah. So the chair. I saw a video you shared online, and I have a little snippet on my YouTube channel as well of the chair blocking the concern of parents.
Yeah.
So parents are lining up. They have concerns about the material that is available and accessible to kids in the library, and the chair is straight up blocking them.
Yeah. Straight
Do you
up.
have...
Yeah, go on.
What was the response that you have received over there?
From parents?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, parents are upset. We're going to organize there anyway. So because Thursday they're gonna have a drag queen story show in Chilliwack. So there's going to be some protests right there, and we're going to have a couple meetings with parents to start fill out letters to get those books removed from the school. So yeah, they just wake up a beast. Trust me, they just wake up the grandparent and the mother and then the father there. The people are pissed off in Chilliwack because there is what Widow did was she was acting like a tyrant. No one was able to talk there, and the woman was there. She was a foster care. She was taking care of foster. She took care of children all her life, right? She was a foster home, and she had really big concern about the sexually explicit material giving to children for a very good reason. And no, Willow didn't want to hear one word from her. And she's way more professional than Willow. She knows more about children and troubled children than Willow. You know what I mean? So it's just. And that trustee, man, she's been a pain for years, actually, with people. She was very hard to discuss with online because she was always insulting parents. And I'm saying this very confidently because we have all the proof of it. She can't come back to me for defamations because that's what she did. We got all the. We know we look pretty well in I want here. And so anyway, and the problem with that is that, and they do this purposely, right? Because 4 years ago, people were more open to speak about stuff, right? Now, there's almost no parent that's got the courage to go there because they've been canceled, they've been called transphobic, they've been called homophobe, bigot, they've been insulted. Some even have been armed by some freaking Antifa people or other type of freaking weirdos. And so it has created like a chilling effect in the in our country where people are scared to speak about important issues, and child abuse is a very important issue. So when this happened, actually, is that when people are scared to talk about issue, but that issue increased, right? Because no one is there to defend it, right? So now defending children is, you're gonna get canceled for that. So no one's speaking about this. So all the children now who are abused, is no one who is able to talk for them, because the state cancel herself for speaking. Yeah, man, she's a very good example of this, and Scott from Waterloo School District is a good example of this. Or even the Alton School District with the guy with the big breasts, right? They let this happen, and when people were talking about this, they didn't listen to anyone. So that's the chilling effect, and they do this purposely because they don't want us to talk. And and those who are doing this, man, in my opinion, they're a bunch of deviant. Okay, if someone believes that those books should be shown to children and that we should not listen concerned parent, okay, well, those people they have an agenda, or they have something behind it. They're not normal people, because most of the normal people I know, they don't want this to be taught to children. And when we don't argue with something, we talk, right? We don't tell the other to cut the mics or tell them to shut up. We don't do this, especially parents, children, right? It's just, there's no one that's got, man, if I was to talk about my kids, no one will be able to shut my mouth. You know what I mean? It's very simple. They're my kids. If I want to go on the board and talk about them, Willow has no right to shut the mic and not allowing me as a father to talk about the safety of my children. No right at all. They're to protect my children, and all the grandmas and the mother that was there is the same thing, right? They all have children there. And they just cut the mic like if they are in, like if the children are the property. They do whatever the heck they want with it, right?
Well, it certainly seems that way with the attitude that she has. And the other thing that I found very disturbing about this, Willow and all the trustees, they're all elected to represent the people, and the people, because they are public figures representing the people have a right to know the information that they put out. It could be as simple as tweets or social media access. And I also have a problem, and I know Willow, she blocked me because I retweeted this. She blocked me, and I know I'm not the only parent criticizing her. I find it criminal as an elected official, as an elected trustee, to block people, and people want to get information and you are not giving them access to information. This should not be allowed. If they're elected by the people should have access to them. And if they're just behaving badly, the people should be able to see exactly who they voted for. And I can't believe they're doing that.
It seemed that since COVID, right, those people think they have every right to go in every directions they want to go. I mean, the liberal work leftists, not liberal, but the work leftists, you know what I mean? So they seems to feel that they have so much power, and that the ideology they have, whatever it is, they can push it down to the throat of people. and they have been pushing us down for 2 years. A lot of stuff, man, that had happening in school, and we have let this happen. It's just masking the children, right? For 2 years, man. They've been masking the children so in school, and we just let this happen. And but now they seems to think that they can go further and further, right? Power is a corruptive force, right? And I think they have, and that's what happened. No, man. Maybe they were elected in the beginning. Maybe they were good people, but power have corrupted them to a level, man. That a level that is criminal. It's very simple. They become fascist.
I can't believe that these people are elected, but I know a lot of parents don't know. Like I said, I only found out about a lot of this stuff at the beginning of last year, right? Mm-hmm. And the elections were coming up, so. It always takes time for people to realize what's happening. Even with your work, you've been doing this for years. I just found out about you. I just found out about the books, right? And I know once things hit, like usually they increase dramatically, right? Like once people get a hold of it, like more people and more people and more people share it. But it's really hard to get the ball rolling. But the ball is rolling now with a lot of these things. And hopefully there's going to be some accountability from these trustees, because their arrogance towards parents and addressing their concerns is completely unacceptable. And they hide behind marginalized groups, and they say we're doing this to protect human rights. And the ironic thing is they say, I wish people were more tolerant, but I believe that we got in this scenario because we were too tolerant. People were too tolerant of this behavior, right?
Well, we've been too tolerant of the intolerant, actually.
Yeah.
I think the tolerance we have in our country was okay, right? You know what I mean? And then you got those people came, right? And they said we're gonna compel your speech. Then you're gonna use a pronoun in school. And we've been tolerant of that. And that's the problem, I think. We've been tolerant of those who told us what to do and what to think. Right? I think being tolerant, it's fine to a certain extent, but being tolerant of those who told us exactly how to speak, and it's the tolerance of the intolerant. It's very simple, because those people that they're not tolerant, they have no acceptance and tolerance. They're the one who are taking over a woman's sport. They're the one who are, going in the private space of women, right? And, they're the one who told our kids that, they can be whatever the heck they want. And they are the child mutilations advocate. So it's just, so I think we should not be tolerant to those people. No, definitely not. I think this is where we have been too tolerant.
I certainly wouldn't want to be in their shoes right now, defending sterilization of minors, medical sterilization. And I just did a video, it's up on my YouTube channel, where I talk about the policies, and they say as a general rule, segregation should be avoided, which means that men can play in women's sports. Now, I'm okay with like co-ed sports and all of that, right? And I believe right now there are stalls in all the washrooms, and there's also like the gender neutral washrooms that you can use, what we would commonly refer to as family washrooms, right? So they say that they want to accommodate them, and I don't see too many women rushing into the men's washroom and change room, but I do see a big problem with men gaining spaces to women's washrooms and change rooms and all of this. And to me, I'm not really sure how we're adding any privacy, because really nothing is changing. There's no extra, there's nothing extra being done. Really, the only difference this policy allows is for men to invade women's change rooms. And how can you defend women's rights when you have this ideology that can't even define the woman, it's crazy.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, how can you defend human rights women's rights when you cannot even define a woman? So, yeah, it's really simple. Yeah. So it's just, I agree.
It's
with
just
that.
a feeling. It's just a feeling, man. Get on board. You know.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. So
Yeah,
there's something.
Everything is good.
Yeah, there's something going on specifically at your schools in BC. We don't have it here.
Yeah.
At least I don't think we have it. It's called SOGI 123.
Yeah. Well, you have this, but it's another name. But yeah, go on.
There's another. Can you talk to me a little bit about SOGI 123?
SOGI 123. Oh my God, SOGI is sexual orientation and gender identity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the 123, I think it's policies, learning resource, and gosh, I read this somewhere. And there is 3 stuff anyway, man. I actually write something recently. I'm gonna read it to you. It's very interesting about SOGI. Okay, yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Because they keep telling us that they don't teach SOGI, okay? But look at this. I write something. I say it's very simple. I say SOGI provides SOGI teaching resource based on mandatory SOGI policy and procedure within an inclusive environment that includes signage, compelled speech, and curricular opportunity, all based on SOGI. But the board members said that they don't teach SOGI. So the entire everything in the schools have to go through SOGI. You know what I mean? The policy, and that's why they changed the pronoun. That's why you cannot say woman anymore. You have to change your words. So everything is based on this sexual orientation and gender identity things, the way you speak. So even the resource, even if they teach mathematics, you're gonna have some things. They're gonna adjust the wording inside this. So to make sure that it is SOGI inclusive. And in Canada, in BC, we got what is called SOGI lead. So most of the schools have someone who is a SOGI lead, and you need this. It's a part of the SOGI, policies. Actually, you need a SOGI leads in school and in the school board also. And so that's it, man. So it's everywhere. So it's all about, you go to school, it's all about sexual orientation, gender identity, and of course critical race theory, which is it's not defined in anything, but it's everywhere. Like when you acknowledging the land. We're in Canada, you know what I mean? So it's just, all this is, it's like a little prayer, like every day they talk about something that acknowledge the land. Ridiculous, man. And CRT is pretty bad too.
So, right about SOGI, the director said something very interesting, and I think it dawned on me. He said that sexual orientation and gender identity is not part of the sexual curriculum. So, parents can opt their kids out of the sexual curriculum. But because this is not part, and I checked the sexual curriculum up to grade 6 because I'm just talking, but my girls are in grade 4, so I'm just looking at the elementary schools right now. And there is nothing about gender identity or sexual orientation in this. So it seems to me like they are getting away with implementing something that is not even in the curriculum and then completely not taking accountability because they're saying, well, it's not in the curriculum. They're talking about it and parents cannot opt out because it's not in the curriculum. So how are the teachers pushing something that's not part of a curriculum? They are going above and beyond. And this, to me, I believe this is indoctrination. This should not be it's not part of the curriculum.
Yep.
This should not be taught. And like I said, because this is not, parents cannot opt out. They don't even know that it's happening. So I think we do have like a Soji 123 here, but maybe it's not, like, maybe I just didn't catch on.
Ideology. I mean, in Ontario, it was gender ideology. Man, every time you got a rainbow flag, or they talk about the LGBTQ things, or you got a GSA clubs or a Suji. I don't know if you got a Suji club, but it's just And this they wanted the way they do this is in order. I'm just gonna take it a bit. It's from the Cohen brothers actually. That they're the one who wanted to force the sexual orientation and gender identity things in school. And the way they did this is they bind them together. Is actually they made a. Oh my God! I need to read the document again, but they made this about the human rights, so you can't just stop thought of it, because what they're gonna tell you is why it's the human right, right? We have to talk about this because it is a human right. So they joined, I think, the sexual orientations with the gender identity, because one of them is kind of a part of the human rights before, but now both of them are the part of the human rights. It's a complex. It's a cold case actually. It's very interesting because within the case itself. They explained and they say in the word I'm gonna say, we're going to force children to learn about I think that was queer theories. I send you the document so you can share this with people. It's very interesting.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Current brother.
Yeah. Current brothers.
Current CORREN.
Oh. Okay.
The current
Perfect.
brother. Yeah. That was a good one. Yeah.
So it seems to me like, obviously, I cover a lot of gender ideology, and the Soji stuff is everywhere now. Yeah. And yeah, I have a big problem now. There's other things going on in BC. They're not really happening as much over here, but I saw a little segment. From what I've seen, Rebel News is doing a 3-part series. I did not watch the first part, but I watched the second part, and the third part, I don't know if it came out yet, but it was with Drea, and she's the reporter, and you guys went out to protest a drag show over there. And when I watched it, I got to tell you, man, it was incredibly difficult to watch, and I couldn't believe the way these guys were defending the drag queens. I mean, they were like animals, right? Oh, yeah. They were willing to fight for their right to have the drag queens there.
Listen, those people are willing to die to teach your children about sexuality. They're willing to die to show sexually explicit material to your children. That's how crazy those people are in the head. Okay? For real, man. That's a hill. They're willing to die. It's no question about it. It's crazy.
I saw I couldn't believe it in the video when I saw the lengths that these people, and I wonder how the human mind can get to such a dark place where you are celebrating this kind of behavior around kids to the point where you can't even see past the situation. Like you said, they were willing to die. They just got right in the face. And I think if the police wasn't there, things would have escalated even more. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, I had to... They were attacking one of my friends. I had to interfere at some point because, man, they were really attacking him. I had to push a couple guys away because, man, those people, they were physically violent with us. It's like, punching us and pushing us, and Arm, who was one of my friends from Abbotsford, he went after him, man, like crazy. The guy who had the little banner. So yeah, those people...
What was the police doing there?
Well, the police did nothing, but, I'm gonna go in favor of the police a little bit sometimes on that one, because they have to identify who's the bad guy. You know what I mean? So I think the best way to identify who's the bad guy is to let them do the bad things, man. And because after they identify who was the bad guys, I mean, they were around my friends and they were protecting him when he was on the truck speaking to people. So yeah, it's a tough one, man. It's because there is maybe police officers that think that we are religious, crazy religious people that want to push everything on the throats of everyone, and we are going to get violent to achieve that, which is not the case, right? And maybe there is, maybe some police think that, and then they realize, oh my gosh, no, those people are actually not religious fanatic. They just want to protect children. But yeah, it's hard. It's a tough game, man. And with everything that happened the past 2 years, it must be tough to be a police right now and make decisions, because the politics went into the police force a lot, and they did push the peoples against the police a lot during the BLM process, and the defund the police movement and all this stuff. So they were trying to make people hate the police. So I just think, man, yeah, I just think that the police, the best way for the police, in my opinion, to solve the issues is to arrest those who commit criminal offense. It's very simple. Let's forget the politics and just, okay, you commit a criminal offense, you push, you hurt someone, I arrest you. That's it. Deal with it. Deal with it in the front of the judge. Because the police actually is main job is to arrest people when they do bad things. They're the one who go there, take the guys, and put it somewhere until he's gonna go in the front of the judge, or remove them from a place so everyone is safe. So it's just, I think that they should just do their job, and that will be good. But it's a tough call.
I've spoken to the police. I really feel for them, because a lot of them did leave out of frustration as well, and some of them still stay on the force. And I know for a fact that they are being silenced within the force, and they're being politicized as well. And I've spoken to police officers about this, and I know I would not want to be in their situation. No. And they're stuck between protecting the very people who want to defund them, and normal people. And it's difficult, because these people hate the police, yet they want the protection of the police. And even in this video, it was very difficult to say what's going on. That's why I knew there was police on the side, because I've seen it. The documentary wasn't really focusing on the police. It was focusing more on that. That's why I wanted to know what your impressions were on the ground over there.
Yeah, well, the impression is I don't think most of the people that were there, I don't think they were from Ku Klux Klan. I think there is because there is a lot of the protesters that I saw there than I saw on other protests before, right? So they kind of, the same kind of people that go and make trouble everywhere. They're the same crew. But that time they had, I think they had two politicians, and one was the MP, I believe, of Ku Klux Klan. I don't remember her name, gosh. Anyway, and I think what happened is that she bring her crew with her. She's from the NDP, so I think she bring a bunch of people with her. So it was looking like there was a lot of people. That was a bunch of NDP people. That she's a politician. Of course, she's gonna bring people. You know what I mean? And she was there cheering for the drag queen. So
that was very cringe. When I watched it, I cringed so hard. And even the drag queen himself, like that guy, it almost seemed like he was getting pleasure out of pissing people off, and he was just acting like a rock star. It reminded me of a very very religious kind of ceremony, more like he was like a priest, and he was like going around almost blessing people with his presence and with his words. It was very, very odd, very disturbing. Now, the drag show itself, was there a lot of parents that showed up to this, or was this more protest than drag show?
No, I think a lot of parents showing up to this actually. Yeah. I don't know the number. I was not able to see how many parents, but I bet. Actually no, man, I don't know. Actually, it's hard to know. I was not able to see it, so that would be just an assumption. So I didn't see many kids there actually. I didn't see many kids.
That's good. That's a good sign.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Even in the library itself, I didn't see many children around. So maybe there is a few parents, a few freaking weirdo parents that bring their children there. Man, you gotta be a weirdo, okay, to bring your children to a drag queen shows like that. I mean, you gotta. People have to be told the truth, man. Those people, they dress like women. They have a sexual feelings of dressing like a woman. There is research made about this. You don't just dress as a woman like that. There is something. They make them feel sexual. And so they do this in the front of children reading story. It's like, well, what kind of sexual feeling they have in the front of children? And they can say whatever the heck they want, man. I mean? I'm sure they have a sexual feeling of being in the front of children. And that's why they're doing this. For me, it's clear. It's very clear. It's just, and this sexual feeling is so freaking strong that they are willing to go against parents to go there, against protesters, against everyone, just to go and have the freaking feeling in front of children. This is how weird those people are. And I'm not talking about all the drag queens. Those who performs in the club that don't go in the front of children, I'm okay with that, man. I have no problem with those people. The people I have a problem with is the people who go and perform the little freaking fantasy in the front of children. That's crazy. And what else the things to what is the main questions here? And a lot of people ask that question: where do we cross the line? And that's actually, this is where Willow cancel Eder, right? When she stopped Eder to talk, actually, in the at the board meeting in Chilliwack, is Eder was asking, right, where do we cross the line? Right, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable? It seems that, man. Yeah, those.
I think the line is crossed when you start introducing kids and you start silencing parents.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like it's a pretty hard line that they're crossing with that. Yeah. And I would imagine the drag queens themselves, if they are performers, adult performers, if I was in their shoes, I would be pissed that these other drag queens are giving them a bad name.
Right? There we go.
Because these drag queens that are performing in front of kids, they're giving the entire industry a bad name. And the people who do enjoy it, who do like going out, performing in front of adults, now they're viewed as sexual predators, right?
Yeah.
Because this select few drag queens decide to take their performance in front of minors, which is unacceptable, completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
And to be a sexualized adult, now I see mostly men doing this, and I see, surprisingly, this always surprises me, how many women support this behavior. Whether it's men going to the women's change room, like these women do not stick up for children's rights. They do not stick up for women's rights, but they go on about the patriarchy or whatever they go on, right?
It's all about themselves. That's the things, right? They all want the attentions of the walls around them, man. You know what I mean? They're not mothers. They are mothers, but the kids it's they're not that those women, okay? And I'm not talking to all, but most of women are very protective of their children, but I mean those women.
These women that are enabling this behavior.
That's the one I'm talking about. Just to be clear, everything is centered about themselves, right? The kids is an object of for gratifications. You know what I mean? There's some women that go into trans their kids just so they got some attentions from it, right?
Yeah.
It's common actually. Yeah.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with gender, right? I would say there's people on both sides that are...
Most men are the one who are going to physically abuse a child. Okay, most men. So this is clear statistically that most men. Women have another way of being a psychopath. You know what I mean? You know,
yes.
That's clear. So it's the woman psychopath. That's what they're gonna do. Right? They're gonna use the children, and there's gonna be the little object of gratifications, and they're gonna make that little child suffer for them. You know, so it's just that's it. So it's just man. That's
so we had a drag queen come into one of the schools last year, and I don't believe the parents were announced. Now, this drag queen was a math teacher, and there was an article on Waterloo District School Board basically making it like this. The students were rushing in to see this magical drag queen, and it was this crazy thing. Now, they also put in the article that I think they had to stop the comments and all of this because they've released so much hate, and they were saying people were discriminating against them and being hateful and all that stuff, which obviously parents were not happy that a drag queen was coming in and nobody knew, right? Surprise, kids. And this drag queen was going on talking, because she's a math teacher, how she's breaking boundaries and stereotypes. And it was very ironic to me because she is indeed breaking the boundaries by going into and using math, using something good to get in front of kids. And I was having a very hard time thinking, what does sexuality have to do with abilities? Like, you can be good at anything. You could be good at math, reading, science, right? And then you use these things to get people to come to you, but you're a sexual person, and this to me is a red flag. And obviously the parents weren't very happy about this because they had to put a little note due to the comments and the feedback. But the school made it sound like they're empowering, and you could be whatever you want to be. And when I see a sexualized adult around kids, I'm getting red flags there.
Yeah, it's such a grooming language when you think about that. I mean, cross the boundary, right? Be whatever you want. Don't keep the secret. Don't tell your parent anything. And we know everything. And it's okay to go above the boundary. It's like the boundary thing is like, since when we told kids to cross boundary, man? Since that kind of boundary, I mean, you can push yourself. You can use another language than cross the boundary, right? I mean, in sports, you push yourself harder, kind of, right? But in crossing the boundary, that language, I don't know, man. Something wrong with that form of language. It can be used by very dangerous people.
The way she meant it was that drag people and queer people do not have the same opportunities. So she's breaking these boundaries and stereotypes, right? Wow. And I think, ironically, she is breaking boundaries between what's acceptable to children, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing that I found very interesting, she also went on the news and she was defending the prosthetic breast teacher as well, the one in the Halton region.
I think I missed all that. Gosh, I'm going to have to listen to that one.
Which I found was very bizarre behavior. And it's one of those cases, right, where think about all these kids that are feeling uncomfortable and potentially abused. I mean, I think this is abusive behavior to subject kids to somebody who has this sexuality thing that he feels he needs to wear ridiculous prosthetics, breasts in front of children, right? And then they blame the children for being uncomfortable, right? It's completely inverted. It's like the abuser blames the person being abused.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the abuser
crazy.
dream. I guess Canada has become a pedophile even. It's crazy, man. You know, things are going to change, but man, they're going to push back those people. Because trust me, they are willing to die on that hill. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know parents are willing to die on this hill to protect their kids.
Yeah.
These guys,
The things that's exactly so because of this, there's no options here. We have to go within the law. You know what I mean? And go with it won't end well if this is not fixed soon. Okay? Because I heard more and more of my friends getting affected by things, getting their childs being I don't know what things that happen in schools, and it's just and I start to hear more and more, right? And so it has to stop. It has to stop, man. The teachers and schools and the news and politicians, they have to stop pushing the grooming of children. It won't end well. It's very simple. And the police have to step up and do something about it. You know what I mean? And investigate at least. Go in schools and take a look at the type of books they have and read them.
And the teachers also need to start pushing these bad teachers to the surface, pushing them out, because it's really giving teachers a bad reputation. There's so many great teachers out there. Yeah, so many great teachers that now the teachers are being painted as groomers, right? Because nobody knows what's happening behind the school walls.
That's why I got all those little cases here. That this is one case here. I got probably a dozen of cases of teacher who were actually reprimanded for showing this to children in school. You can take a look, or you can read it. I can read it, whatever.
He used inappropriate language in his class. When teaching middle school students about sex education and discussing ways to prevent sexually transmitted diseases, he included sexual graphic details and referred to oral sex in an overly colloquial manner. That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. Here we go. That one was finished, okay?
I wonder how many teachers are engaging in this behavior.
Man,
let's read another one.
The problem is that they normalized it, but it's still illegal.
Yeah.
Look at it. Look that one. They all like that. They all they've got a bunch of those.
Inappropriate images on a classroom computer that included beach scenes with partially naked individuals. He further admitted that while viewing these images during instructional time, one student accidentally observed the inappropriate image.
Those images are bad for children, but what we're talking about is 100% worse than that. You know what I mean? Like genderqueer, man. There we go, another one here.
Viewing pornographic images of adult women on his classroom computer.
Yeah, that one was a weird.
Using inappropriate names to refer to female students such as babe and sweetheart, and making inappropriate comments concerning sex education class.
Yeah, 12-month suspensions. Yeah.
He encouraged her to read books and see movies that involved sexual relations between characters with a significant age difference. He was criminally convicted of sexual touching of a young person. Contrary to section of the criminal code, he was sentenced to 14 days in jail.
Yeah, I don't know.
Inappropriate language in the classroom and allowing students to use inappropriate language in the classroom. Images of naked females and of people engaged in sexual acts. Explicit in the classroom and allowed students in his class to use similar expletives. Inappropriate comments on Facebook.
See? So, go ahead. Bad Romance. Go ahead.
Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. The song contained inappropriate sexually suggestive content and inappropriate language for children in grade 3 to be exposed to. Sexually assaulted 5 students in grade 5-6. He assigned inappropriate research topics to his grade 5-6 students, including topics for debate. Should pornographic sites be allowed on the internet? Guilty for professional misconduct.
Yeah, so he just discussed if should pornography site. Well, he actually assaulted 5 students. Yeah, that's pretty damn bad. Oops.
Repeatedly showed videos to his students during class that contained inappropriate, including some sexual images. Comments of sexual, demeaning, and offensive nature. Unprofessional manner by making remarks to students that were deemed to be sexual, demeaning, and offensive. Professional and found the member guilty of professional misconduct.
There we go. 3-month suspensions. Oh yeah, that one. Because
Member does not understand why it is inappropriate to access this type of material, and he was accessing child pornography, including images of children engaged in sexual conduct. Oh my God!
Yeah,
and sexual graphic.
That one. You know who that one remind me? This remind me of Willow. She doesn't seem to understand that what she's showing, what she promoting online on Facebook is inappropriate for children. When someone said that The Bluest Eyes is a book that is okay, someone is saying that child pornography showing to children is okay. That's exactly what they're doing. So, yeah, so there we go. The member does not understand. He was still fired. Oh, here we go. That's the protection against access. That's a part of the case. This is important, actually. The prohibited material. You can read the entire.
Okay. Prohibited material. The students or staff may not access prohibited material at any time for any purpose. This material includes material that is obscene, child pornography, material that is considered harmful to minors. The school designates the following types of materials as prohibited: obscene materials, child pornography, material that appeals to prudent or unhealthy interest in or depicts or describes in patently offensive way violence, nudity, sex, death, or bodily function, material that has been designed as for adults only, and material that promotes or advocates illegal activities.
There we go.
I want to believe that this stuff is not happening, but I know this stuff is normalized and it is everywhere. And like I mentioned earlier, I am very skeptical of the low number of offenses that have been within the past couple years, because if people are stepping up and filing complaints against, I believe there's probably going to be an explosion in sexual offenses in school. And I want to encourage educators, parents, teachers, if you have this knowledge, you need to act on it. And I want you to be encouraged by what we were reading here today. And just know that's all it takes. Speak up and file a complaint. And you need to get these people who are in positions of power. You know, an adult has power and responsibility. There's a power dynamic over a child. And if these adults behave this way, this is unacceptable.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 100% with you. Yeah, so make complaint. I mean, I know the entire process in BC how to make the complaint. Maybe you can make some research in Ontario and give it to people. the way that they can make complaint to the commissioner there via the Ontario College of Teacher, I guess. It's and teacher can make complaint against teacher also. So let's not forget that, right? So there is a teacher, because usually that's what happens, right? It's in school, the one who's going to find those bad people is the teacher. There's going to make a complaint about the other teacher because he saw that the other teacher do bad things, right? So the teacher has a big part to play in it. And if they want to get ripped of all, if the good teacher want to get rid of all those weirdos in school, well, let's complain about them. If they did bad things, I mean, you don't complain just for fun, but if they did bad things, you complain about it. The law is with you.
Before I let you go, is there anything coming down on the horizon that you want people to know about? Is there anything going on in your life?
Yeah, there is a couple of things actually. What I'm gonna try to do right now, but I already meet. I do like to meet parents like every week and have discussions with them and talk about what's going on, awareness, and But now what I'm gonna start to do actually is to teach parents how to fill out form and fill out the form with them. So I want to start to organize either a Zoom call or meetings in some location and bring all my informations. And maybe if there is trustee in that school district that are willing to come with me, we just all go together and we educate parents how to fill out complaint forms about the books. Just so parents feel. Because the thing is, the process sometimes it's a tough process, but if we can find good trustee that told us exactly what to do, people would gain confidence. They all know that what they are doing is the good way to do it because trustee told them to do it. And I think it's the job of the trustee actually to inform parents about how to make complaints. So I try to organize this a little bit to bring trustee with parents together and to have educational sessions, discussions about the issues of the book, because the school board doesn't want to listen. So let's just do this outside of the school board. You know what I mean? Why do we need a school board anyway to talk to trustee? You know what I mean? If the chair of the board doesn't want to listen, let's meet them outside and have a discussions. We have to fight. It's very simple. There's no other options than to fight. It's unfortunate that we at this stage when we have to work full times and don't pass time with our children because we have to fight a system that is made to corrupt our children and to over sexualize them, and we don't know what they're gonna do with them after. So, but that's the reality of the world we live in. We have how many years of freedom did we have? Right? I have 42 years of freedom, and I want this for my kids. You know what I mean? So it's not something that I will. Yeah, go ahead.
The next step is for parents. You're going to get together with them. You're going to show them how to fill out complaints form. I know parents get very overwhelmed with this. They want to take action. They don't know where to begin. And the nice thing about this is they are going to be able to interact with other parents as well, other like-minded people, and know they are not alone. This was one of the things, I guess I should not have been surprised. I was pleasantly surprised once I got started in this. There are so many people, the majority of the people, I would say, that still think normally. They don't say anything. Ever since my delegation, I've been flooded with messages of people thanking me. I did not get a single bad message.
Here we go.
I don't know. And I don't know how that happened. But I do know there's a ton of support out there, and a ton of parents are just tired and they want to do something. And if I want to thank you for putting this together for parents. We're looking over here as well for action items. I've made a solution for concerned parents video on my website on how they can get started. And I really I was very encouraged personally today, just looking through the complaints and seeing what it takes to file a complaint and what the threshold is. I think this is very important because it seems like we have exceeded that threshold, and we are well within the means of the complaint being acceptable. Well, Pierre, wanted to thank you once again for joining me on the podcast. I'm going to have links below for your Twitter, for your Facebook, for your websites, and I encourage everybody to go and have a look. Go view with your own eyes what is in the schools. Read and see the context for yourself. You're smart enough to make a decision. You're smart enough to see if this is appropriate and to deem it as such. And we have that information available, and Pierre made it available. All right, everybody. If you enjoy this podcast, please have a listen to episode 1 with Cristina Fernandez as we go through the policies in the school boards and the procedures and the practices. And podcast number 2 with Cristina Fernandez and Pierre Barnes again, where we discuss in more details the books available inside the school libraries. Until next time, take care.